The following tales are from the Albuquerque Journal, February 17, 1974. Socorro's Old-Timers Swap Tales Recalling Life in the Old Days by Virginia Johnson. Socorro, teasing each other and swapping tales. A panel of old-timers provided their Johnny-come-lately fellow residents with broad insights into the quality of county life in the late 19th and early 20th centuries during the Socorro Historical Society's midwinter dinner. The group, Mrs. Ada Ferguson, Holm Bursam, Junior Cloud Graham, Bill McCarty, and M.L. Miera, ended their evening of reminiscence long before the audience of 130 history buffs were ready to let them go. Their presentation of living history was planned by Mrs. Mary Fitch and moderated by Mrs. Mary Douglas, both of the local society. Bursam, widely known in New Mexico, financial, business, and political circles for many years, was the good-humored target of a tide of jokes from his fellow panelists. Miera told with laughter of young Bursam's visits to his San Antonio bar and nightclub, usually with the story that he was broke, but would like the charge of beer or a chance to dance to the bands that Miera brought from Albuquerque and El Paso. Bursam, Miera added, was an excellent dancer and fond of Spanish quadrilles. Miera didn't mind extending a few favors, he confided. The building housing his establishment belonged to Bursam's father, to whom the proprietor explained, "I never paid 1 cent of rent. I just promised." Bursam heard from Cloud Graham that as a big kid you were one of the laziest guys I ever saw in my life. Once, when Graham and some friends dropped in on horseback to spend the night on the Bursam Ranch east of San Antonio, they were offered the hospitality of a large pasture for their mounts. In the morning, the horses were gone. Graham and his friends discovered that unobserved by Bursam, thieves had taken all the wire from his father's pasture fence. The one-time lazy, young ranch hand grinned, "I think he's exaggerating," and told one on himself. As a boy, he used to crawl under Socorro's boardwalk to see what money had fallen from the pockets of passerby. "I never had a bad day," said Bursam. "There was always a nickel or a dime." Conversation drifted to early county economics times before 1920, when there were 5 banks here. One by one, as mines shut down and people moved away, the banks closed. San Marcel's washed out in a flood, Bursam recalled, just before they found out they didn't have any money. That was during the 1920s, and for 2 decades the county had no bank. McCarty recalled that, although his father traveled through many large cities of the period on his way west in 1882, there was more money in the town of Socorro than in any other town. Men were playing poker with $20 gold pieces. The ore wagons were so thick on the roads that you had to keep to the right, he said, according to his father's stories of boom mining days in the Magdalena before the railroad came in 1880. Graham added, in 1914, Magdalena and Kelly claimed 15,000 people. There were 18 saloons in Magdalena and many 2-story buildings. One person in the audience recalled Magdalena poker parties in the 1930s that used to last for 6 or 7 days, night and day. McCarthy's father, working further west towards Quemando in the winter of 1888, traveled by sled across snow 4 feet deep on the level. One night, he thought he heard a woman hollering near his camp. What it was discovered to be, a big old mountain lion. He sat up all night with an axe in his hand. As for a trip across the Black Range, reported Bursam, it was either by horseback across the wide, empty stretches of the San Agustin Plains, or via train south to Rincon, change for Deming, again for Silver City, with the final 90-mile stagecoach ride to Mogollon. My father built the road between Mogollon and Willow Creek with prisoner labor while he was county sheriff. In Socorro's site of several significant floods before the U.S. Corps of Engineers built a ditch around it to carry away swift mountain runoff in the 1960s, people arrived by train and voyaged from the depot to the Val Verde Hotel a few blocks away by rowboat during high water. The panel commented on El Fuego Baca's legendary showdown shootout at Frisco, McCarty said today they tell it as if it was 80 Texans and 30,000 rounds of shot. The whole thing lasted 30 minutes. You talk about murders, he scoffed, around Quinardo from 1916 until the World War I. It was a common everyday thing. Every few days somebody was getting killed and you never know who did it. If you enjoyed the information in this video today, turn the bell notification on and subscribe because we are going to be posting daily Western stories. I really hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.